Okay, hold on, Facebook. We're going to be underway here in a moment. We got started a little bit late. Okay, we're good there. And boom, and we got Facebook up in 3, 2, 1. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kino with STEMwithKino.com, and I'd like to welcome you guys to SIFT Weekly 2020. Get myself lined up on Facebook there. So I'm good. I'm live on Facebook Live, and I am live on YouTube as well. All right. John checks in. Howdy. Howdy, John. Okay. Just check some last minute notes here. Okay, and we are up and running. All right. Okay, sorry for the dead air there. I have some things swirling and popping on here, but I'm Kino, STEMwithKino.com, and welcome to SIFT Weekly. The SIFT is the standard instrument for flight training. It is the measuring tool by which the United States Army selects its aviation candidates, be it the commission officer route via OCS or ROTC, or even the U.S. Military Academy, and also the warrant officer route, which is the Warrant Officer Flight Training Program, also known as WAFT, W-O-F-T, or Whiskey Oscar Foxtrot Tango, if we say that phonetically. All right, so yeah, I'd like to welcome you guys. I'd like to thank you guys for taking time out your busy schedule. It's actually May 1st, and I think they opened the beaches back up. And so I feel a little, wow, I should be at the beach. No, I'm good. I'm here for you guys. Wow. Okay, so I am waiting on, just waiting on something to populate here. So I want to talk about history, because we're going to do something history related, and we're going to do something aeronautically or Army aviation information related, and then we're going to go into and then we're going to go into questions. If you guys are taking the ASVAB, you can give us ASVAB questions. We will answer them during any live stream that we normally do. But today is kind of sort of geared or directed towards the United States Army Aviation aptitude test. All right, so historically, we're going to talk about the United States Army Aviation. So we're going to talk about the origins of aviation. And according to Wikipedia, Army aviation traces its origins back to the American Civil War. Both Union and Confederate forces used hydrogen-filled balloons to direct their artillery fire, making the beginnings of U.S. military aeronautics and of aerial support of Army ground forces. All right, so the Army also used balloons during the Spanish-American War and World War One, but airplanes replaced balloons for most military purposes during latter conflicts. All right, while not part of present Army aviation branch's heritage, United States military aviation began in 1907 with the Signal Corps Aeronautical Division, or they probably call it Signal Corps, and its acquisition of its first heavier-than-air aircraft, an airplane built to Army specifications by the Wright brothers. All right, so during World War I, the Air Service's signal strength grew from a few dozen to more than 11,000 airplanes, and the number of aviation personnel came to more than 190,000 troops. The Army Air Service was created with the de-establishment of the Signal Corps Aviation Section in May 1918. After World War I, General Billy Mitchell, or you guys, if you were a cadet, you call him General Billy Mitchell, but General William Mitchell and other Air Service leaders spoke out forcefully in favor of an independent Air Force. Since they envisioned aviation as a separate striking force capable of independent operations, they opposed its remaining and supporting arm of the ground forces. Although Congress, as well as most Army leaders, rejected Mitchell's argument, the Air Service did become a separate combat arm, equal in the status to the infantry, cavalry, and artillery. Okay. So we just cut it off right there. You kind of heard about the Signal Corps and how they use hydrogen-filled balloons to direct artillery fire. So it was still kind of like tactical use of air power. Okay. So according to this document, the birth of Army aviation was in 1942. All right. So this is what kind of evolved into today's Army aviation branch. So we're going to go with 6 June 1942 until somebody displays otherwise. I'm also going to put the patch on. But I know I used to see a lot of movies with, the Army Air Corps, and I know the Army Air Corps actually became, what am I trying to say? They became like the Air Force as we know it today. So I think the Army Air Corps, and I'm just kind of, hold on, make sure I'm on the right page, man. Yeah, I'm not on the right page. Good way to go, you know. Okay, so, yeah, you would see like the Army Air Corps in the patches. So yeah, we're leaving this page, all right. No apologies. I'm like a little bit off, it feels like. Yeah, there's really like no script or anything, but I'm trying to actually be structured because that's what all the experts say you should do. And that's I'm kind of following this format of, history, and let's see here. Okay, so go ahead and send those questions as we go into our aeronautical term. Okay, so our aeronautical term that we're going to go into is called effective translational lift. ETL, effective translational lift. Think about it, a helicopter in hover. It's just kind of, it's just sitting there. And as it's sitting there, the rotor is actually developing vortices, all right, along this spinning, helicopter main rotor vortices. Oh, they didn't want it all. Helicopter main rotor vortices. Okay, let's get a nice image here. All right, so actually this is perfect. Okay, good. This comes from, oh, okay, well, the FAA, FASafety.gov. And actually what you will see the airflow patterns that are rotating around the main rotor. And let's get you posted. And that's posted. So you're actually going to see two different situations, okay? And actually you'll see the main rotor rotating and producing its vortices and induce flow in and out of ground effect. And you can see that the Earth is interfering with the airflow patterns. The Earth is interfering with the airflow patterns around the. So this isn't particularly specific to our effective translational lift, but it's actually demonstrating what's going on in a hover. In addition to that, we can see what's going on when the helicopter is in ground effect or when it's out of ground effect. The picture to the left is showing it outside of the ground effect. And it's just kind of like a stream of air or a river of air that's developed as the helicopter or the main rotor is actually spinning. Then we see it in ground effect, and we can actually see that the vortices are diminished. They're kind of tightened up, and they don't have the same range of motion, if you will. So that is a beautiful picture showing the rotary wing aircraft in and out of ground effect. So back to effective translational lift. Okay, so as you see, the stream of air is being developed. So once that air starts to go, it doesn't have as much oomph to it, if that makes any sense. As the rotor comes around and it cuts through the air, like you can see my hand on a positive angle of attack. All right, and Tom, this just reminds me of your question about cambered. Okay, so the rotor is actually having a high angle of attack. All right. If it's undisturbed air that the rotor is cutting through, it has more oomph as opposed to if it's already coming down. It's kind of synonymous to a rope that's not anchored and I'm pulling, but I'm not coming up. Okay. Because it's already moving down. If the rope is stable, then as I pull, if it's anchored, then I'm going to come up. All right. So I will go into, but effective translational lift, it's when the helicopter starts to just kind of lean forward and start to drift forward. And when it hits about 16 to 24 knots, it specifically says that, 16 to 24 knots. It's grabbing new undisturbed air. All right. It's grabbing new and undisturbed air. And so you get that extra little hoof out of it. More energy because the prop is engaging with the undisturbed air. All right. So this segues me into, and let me just, all right, hold on. Effective translational lift.
According to Wikipedia, improved rotor efficiency resulting from directional flight in a
Okay, I did not. So that extra oomph gives us improved rotor efficiency, as you can hear the lady say. And I'm actually going to drop this. So this is definitely something that you want to be very well versed in when it comes to the SIFT testing. All right, and we'll go ahead and we'll address questions. All right, the first one that rings in my head is Tom's question. And Tom, I hope you're checked in and watching. And as a matter of fact, if you guys can hear me okay, hit 1. But John is the person that actually dropped this question. Howdy, John. Juanisha. Okay. So audio's coming across okay. So Tom was asking me a question about positively cambered neutrally and negative cambered airfoils, if I was not mistaken. Oh, wow. Really? Did we? Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I have to respond to this. All right. Man, we ain't come here to watch you type, Kino. All right, I'm back. Looking for Tom. Okay, so Tom was having a question about a statement. A symmetrical airfoil must have a positive angle of attack to generate positive lift. That is good. At zero, no lift is generated, and at negative lift is generated. A cambered or non-symmetrical airfoil may produce non-symmetrical, at zero lift, or even with a small negative angle of attack. You're struggling to understand negative zero. Can we please address this SIFT section? Yes, we can, and we're doing it now, Tom. Okay, so let's go to the board, y'all. We're talking about a positively, symmetrically, or non-symmetrical airfoil. What is symmetry? Symmetry is evenness or balance. So we're going in this direction. We're flying in this direction. And typically, an airfoil, what is an airfoil? An airfoil is any device that's used to produce lift. So if we look at a positively cambered airfoil, it will look like this. Okay. And we'll talk about why lift is developed automatically. Okay, and then we're going to talk about a symmetrical airfoil. I'm going to draw this as symmetrically as I can. All right. So, and then I guess a negatively cambered airfoil. And let me just make sure I do this right, because the trolls are watching, y'all. They're always watching. All right. Negatively cambered airfoil.
According to homebuildairplanes.com.
Okay. All right. So typically, all right, and zero camber, positive camber. Okay, this is a beautiful picture. This comes from Skybrary, like library, but it's Skybrary. And I'm dropping this on the Facebook page for all you guys out there. All right. Okay, so if you go to the post page, if you're following me at stemwithkino.com, you'll see a couple different types of airfoils. All right. We'll see a symmetrical airfoil kind of in the middle. And let me just pull this up first, and then I will talk about what I'm doing. So this top airfoil is, I think it's more positively. Okay. So you have a zero camber, a positive, and a negative camber. And I guess the top one is more like a positively cambered one. If we kind of look at the chord line, and let's talk about this. We have an upper curve, a lower curve, but we have to have our own language, right? So we have an upper camber and a lower camber. These are just curves. You have a chord line that goes from the trailing edge to the leading edge, or some would say the leading edge to the trailing edge. Went off target there a little bit. And then you have this guy right here. So on a what we call a or a symmetrical airfoil, the points here, like if we just slice this up like this, because we used to do this in aerodynamics, when we would design wings, or not design wings, but we would research wing design. The camber would be the imaginary line. The chord line is the imaginary line going from nose to the leading edge to the trailing edge. And this is a certain distance from the mean camber line, and this is a certain distance from the mean camber line. So if they're equidistant from this chord line in the middle, then you have a symmetrical airfoil, meaning that it's pretty much the same curve on the top than the bottom. Okay. And typically this airfoil is not supposed to produce lift at a zero angle of attack. The positively cambered one does, because the more curvature, the air acts different on the top side than it does the bottom side. As this airfoil cuts through the air molecules have to move over this surface faster than it does the bottom, because this one is not that curved. Okay, and this is, we're looking at the side view of the airfoil or the wing or the rotor. So like, just imagine you're doing a pre-flight inspection on the rotor and you're looking at it from the side, from the rotor tip to the hub. All right, so you're looking directly into the hub and you're looking from the side, and this is the shape that you see. All right, so this is a symmetrical airfoil because the points are equidistant from the what we would call the mean camber line. And the positively cambered airfoil has a slightly more curvature. Now I'm looking at this negative camber, and look how it's kind of pointed downward a little bit. It's, it could be zero or slightly upward. Look at the nose or the front part, and then you have a negative camber, and notice how it's kind of pointed downward. Okay, this is kind of pointed downward as I'm looking at the camera, but not because I meant to do it. But so our negative camber kind of looks like this a little bit. It's kind of pointed downward a little bit, and then comes back. And don't laugh at my artwork, guys. So it's kind of pointed that way. This is more or less level, and this is kind of slightly upward. Okay, so as the air molecules rush towards the airfoil, it's like kind of sticking your hand out the window on a bus. If I slightly, tilt my hand as I stick it out of the window on the bus, my hand's going to go like this. Lift is going to be trying to be generated all day long. All right. So this would produce more lift at probably a zero angle of attack. Like most aircraft, the lift generation start without really pulling back. We just have to reach a certain speed. Once we get a certain speed over the airfoil, then what happens is the interaction of the air molecules with the wing and the air molecules moving faster over the top causes positive pressure, negative pressure on the top, and positive pressure on the bottom. Bernoulli's principle takes over, and boom, and we get the upward lift. This one, not so much. And I think probably most helicopter rotors are like this, because the rotor will spin and it will not generate a whole lot of lift, even when we crank the throttle up. But when we pull back on that collective and the blades angle upward, then they start grabbing more lift than normal. All right. And the negatively, and Tom, I don't know if you're in the room, but if you are, I would like you to hit 3. If that was understandable, guys, everybody else in the room, hit 4. Got to change these numbers up. All right, I see you, Tom. You are in the room. Negative lift. What is negative lift at zero angle of attack? Negative lift. The lift is not positive. It's not upward. The lift is kind of more directed downward, like this guy. It's kind of like boom. As the air strikes it, that's just like if you stuck your hand out of a window on a bus. If I kind of angle it downward, that's not positive lift. That's negative lift. It's going to tend to want to push your hand downward. If I angle it upward a little bit, and this is not an airfoil, but it will go up. So I hope that answers your question. And if it did not, Tom, I will definitely, it'll be the first thing that we talk about on our one-on-one session. But I think most people in the room got it, and I'm pretty sure you got it. All right. Okay, please hit the like button. And if you guys are on YouTube, and please, if you could like the photos and like the, video, or or follow me and like the photos, that'd be great, guys. I appreciate it. It's free, We're thumbs down, guys. Okay. So yeah, all right. So we got our aeronautical term in, and we got our historical term in, effective translational lift, and it's actually posted on the page. Let me just do a quick read through to make sure I hit all my points that I want to on effective translational lift. All right. Hey, where you go? Maybe I need to refresh. I know I dropped it. Okay. So when we push forward on the cyclic, and that is the control that we would push forward on, and then the helicopter tilts forward, and then we start to drift. When we hit 16 to 24 knots, we get improved rotor efficiency, resulting from directional flight and the helicopter. All right, so it's improved rotor efficiency. That is the point. What is effective translational lift? We get improved rotor efficiency because we get ourselves out of that stream of air being generated, and we get in a new air or undisturbed air molecules that are just kind of hanging out there. The efficiency of a hovering rotor system is greatly improved with each knot of incoming wind gained by horizontal movement of air. So you get more efficiency because as you're approaching, this is horizontal new air coming to you, not the air that was already in your stream. That's not very efficient. Okay. And, that's associated a little bit with vortex ring state as well, which we will talk about. And I think we talked about that, but I'm going to reiterate it because there are some really, really aerodynamic things that we need to talk about. All right, so stay by 1 second. And Tom, thank you for that because that was a really, really good question. Okay. Excuse me. All right. I'm looking at an image, and I see a cam on the bottom, and I see a valve on the top, and the figure for each complete revolution of the cam, how many times will the valve open? All right, so let's get this posted. And guys, I don't think anybody, this is test prep and it's for the betterment of our testing applicants. But if you can, you don't have to break your neck to do it, but if you do submit a photo of something, try to submit the source if you can. I'm not jumping on anybody, but oh, you're bad. But no. So I see a cam on the bottom, and there's some type of valve, and I don't think you would get a question that looks like this. All right, I'm gonna find a question that is more representative of, or I'll just maybe put it on the board. But what I see are there's 3 bumps in this cam. So matter of fact, you can look at that, but let's go to the board and let's discuss this. This will be in the mechanical comprehension. All right, so you'll have some type of needle, all right, like this, and you'll have some type of follower that's probably seated in some type of window, and I don't know, it might do something. There might be some mechanism on the opposite end of this. We want this thing to go up and down for some reason. So what we'll do is we'll put a cam, and a cam could look something like, trying to make this as okay. All right, but my point is we got 1, 2, 3, actually there's a fourth pump. All right, so this thing is actually going to rotate clockwise or counterclockwise. So it'll be spinning around, and every time one of these bumps come around, this thing's going to boom, boom. And it'll push this up, and this is what we call a follower. And when this thing spins here, it's about to go boom, boom. And then this will come around, and this will drop when this sinks in. So this thing is actually following the contour of the cam. All right. And let's get a Wikipedia definition of cam. I mean, I know what they look like, but I don't know like the official definition. Cam. Pam. That's what they give me. Cam. Now they give me ham. All right, I had to physically type that in, and okay. Definition of a cam. There we go. All right. Oh, these are really nice. Okay. All right. So, yeah. This is good. This was a good thing too. And the source is hi-n, hi-n. No, you're not where it originated from. Okay. So yeah, there is an awesome picture. There we go. This is from mech4study.com. Mech the number 4study.com. And this is awesome. John, not to beat up your image, but I wanted to find an image where everybody can kind of benefit from this and understand. Okay, so this is a very nice one because you actually have the spring. So we had our little thing, but let's say if we had a spring here. All right, so that when this rotates and pushes this up, the spring pushes it back down. So it makes sure that it has close contact with the cam. And I was supposed to be coming up with the definition of a cam, but this particular thing seems to be a wedge-shaped cam. So you can see the follower with a wheel. You can see the spring that's pushing it back down, and you can see the guide. It kind of guides the way that this thing goes up and down, but the spring brings it back down to make sure it's in close contact with the cam. So the follower actually follows the shape of the cam as it rotates. Okay, so whatever this pin is, it will follow, it will go up and down based on the roller of the cam. All right, and this is for precision mechanisms. All right, you get in your car every day, there's cams in there. There's cams rotating, and they kind of time when your valves, your intake and exit or exhaust valves open and close, letting your fuel air mixture in and out. All right. So yeah, that was good. That was a good one. John, did I kind of answer your question? Let me just look at this again, because a bunch of screens up, and you guys know how I kind of jump onto something else and get a little bit off tangent. Okay, there's a comment. Okay, those are ASTB flashcards. Okay. All right. Okay, so yeah, that was a great image. It was decent. But it kind of, in this figure, for each complete rotation of the cam, how many times will the valve open? I say that the valve will open 3 times. And that's another thing. However many bumps that you guys have on the cam, 1, 2, 3, 4 is the number of times that this follower will make the pen go up and down. All right. So that's that question. All right. And that came from, well, the image we dropped came from MECH, MECH, the number 4 study.com. And John, the image he sent me was actually from ASTB flashcards. Okay. You know, distance, rate, and time is my thing. All right, Quanisha, thank you. This is a beautiful, beautiful question. And wow. Unfortunately, the way that this presents itself, I can get it to block out. Because although when you present it, your name is in there as well, but it documents where. New slide. All right, paste. Okay, so I need to kind of block this out. New, bang, paste. Okay, an aerial refueling tanker is what you're seeing, because the way it's sent to me, the names are kind of laid out in there, and so I will. It's blocked out now. I know how to do it. All right, so let's drop this on the Facebook page, and then we'll talk about it, folks. We have another distance, rate, and time problem. I love distance, rate, and time problems. If you get a distance, rate, and time problem, it is a gimme. It really is. It's a gimme. It's like, thanks for the points. That's what I look at distance, rate, and time problems, because once you know how to attack them, then they're really not that hard. All right, so let's let this thing populate. Okay, so you see the name blocked out of the person that sent it to me, but an aerial refueling tanker is what is under there. Departs 2 hours prior to a fighter jet. If the tanker maintains a constant speed of 300 miles per hour, how fast does the fighter jet have to fly to rendezvous with the tanker in 2 hours after the jet's takeoff? I say again, an aerial tanker departs 2 hours prior to a fighter jet. So this sounds like a delayed departure, and these guys are going to meet up somewhere. It's safe to say that they will have covered the same distance. The tanker or larger aircraft leaves, and then later the fighter jet, smaller airplane leaves, but they will still have covered the same distance, right? So what do we say distance? Distance is equal to rate times time. Well, consequently, our formula is rate times time equals rate times time. Rate times time of the first vehicle equals the rate times time of the second vehicle. All right. Now, the only thing is that the rate, the tanker leaves at 300 miles per hour. And we want to find out the fighter jet's rate that catches this guy. We know that, can we even call them X? Okay, because time plus 2 hours. This guy got a head start of 2 hours. The refueling tank departs 2 hours prior to a fighter jet. So time plus 2. What? Okay, this is a weirdo. All right. If the tanker maintains a constant speed, with how fast does the fighter jet that have to move? That would be the unknown. So time cannot be unknown. They don't give us time, so we can't use that formula. Okay. We do have a delayed departure. The aerial tanker leaves 2 hours prior to the fighter jet. We can use it because we can just kind of plug and play information. So what I would do in this case, I would hit the middle, and I'll talk about that, or as middle as we can get it. I would select 450. All right. 450. All right. Okay, so I see time. The cargo or refueling jet will have 4 hours of flight time. The fighter jet only has 2 hours of flight time. The refueling tanker speed is 300 knots. There we go. So we got it all out. All right. So the rate of the aero refueling tanker times the total number of hours it flew times the unknown speed that we're looking for equals the unknown speed that we're looking for times the total flight of the fighter jet. Because how fast does the fighter jet have to fly to rendezvous with the tanker in 2 hours after the jet's takeoff? So the tanker flies for 4. The 2 hour head start it gets plus the 2 hours that this guy caught it. So we have 12. I see 600. I already see 600 because 3 times 4 is 12. Add the 2 zeros, 1200 equals 2x. X has to be equal to 600, and that is question C. All right. So that kind of threw me off a little bit the way it was worded, but you should be able to nail that in about 60 seconds once you establish the delayed departure formula. All right. I'm always right, Quanisha. What are you doing? I'm not always right. I'm just joking. The trolls are like, he's always right. We see them make mistakes before. I'm sorry. All right. A fighter jet burns 4,800 pounds of fuel per hour. All right. So 4,800 pph. I'm line by line and diagramming. The fuel has a specific density of 6 pounds per gallon. Specific density said 6 pounds per gallon. How much fuel will need to be requested for an aircraft to complete a 3-hour flight and still have 3,000 pounds of fuel remaining? That's a good question. Okay, we're burning 4,800 pounds per hour. What is this specific? Fuel has a specific density of 6 pounds per gallon. All right. Oh, because they got pounds and they have gallons. All right. So, hey, Birdie. All right. So we have 6 pounds per gallon. 48. This is what we burn per hour. So, all right. How much fuel will need to be requested for the aircraft to complete a 3-hour flight and still have 3,000 pounds of fuel left? How much fuel will we need? All right. Quanisha, I'm gonna do some research on this because we're kind of like at the top of our hour, and I want to find something quicker to burn, or I'll work this out with you one-on-one. Because there's a lot of moving parts to this. All right. And again, for test taking strategy, if you feel like a question is going to take too long, as I scan this, there's a lot of moving parts to this. I'll probably throw this one back, which means just select the answer and keep moving, because this is like a 5-minute problem to me. And I see your response, Quanisha. Yeah, this is like a 5-minute question. I don't want to spend 5 minutes on questions. So as a test taking strategy, I'll just put like B, or what's close to 4,800 pounds per hour. I'm going to go ahead and wrap my head around this one. All right, 4,800 pounds per hour. This is what the fighter jet burns. And it's kind of crazy because if I burn 4,800 pounds per hour, run it up to 5,000. All right. And I'm gonna be flying for 3 hours and then still have 3,000 pounds over. And yeah, what's your source, Quanisha? This sounds like a trivium. Trivium is gonna write me. They gonna write me a letter. Keno, we see what you been saying about our book, man. Wait till I see you outside of Barnes and Noble, son. I'm like, oh my God, I'm at Barnes and Noble. This is this bully outside. What's his name? Mr. Trivium. You know what? I said I'm gonna stop that, and I didn't crap on their books, but they're kind of like a new publisher, and everybody has to find their way. So I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. But you know, even with this YouTube and Facebook thing, I had to find my way. So I can't even be mad at them. They're trying. But you know, everybody has to find their way. Nobody just starts out and they're like, "Oh, I'm perfect." You know, they want you to be. Like my trolls, they're like, "Oh, you didn't do this right." You know, somebody's gonna make a mistake somewhere, and I'm not even saying they're making mistakes, because they do a really good job on the SIFT. Yeah, let me see who the publisher was, because yeah, I'm like pointing the finger at Trivium and yeah, all right. It's the Learning. See, it wasn't even Trivium. So Learning Express, I haven't even heard of, but they're trying. They have a test prep book out, and you know, when I started test prep, I was a flight instructor at the airport. You know, I was just kind of like hanging out and stuff, and you get guys that were going there to work on their private pilot certificate, but you know, one guy was like, yeah, I want to go to the Army, and you know, I'm getting my private pilot's license because I think just having it will increase my chances, and that's why they were getting their private pilot certificate. And so then I might get another guy's like, oh, well, AFOQT. Okay. And then so everybody thought, you know, at the airport or at our flight school, you know, and that Keno was a pretty smart dude because I'm a nerd. I'm honest. I'm proud of it. If somebody calls you a nerd, it's cool. No, be proud of it because you are what you are, and you can't, and nobody can change you. And if you seek knowledge and everything, that's a beautiful thing, which you'll later learn in life when you know, when people learn to accept themselves. Because as teenagers, we always want to fit in. We want to be in the in crowd. Then when you get older, you really don't care about the in crowd, or you care less about it. Some people are, you know, they gravitate towards social circles and stuff like that. But I can party all by myself. But yeah, John laughed at that trivia. Yo, meet me outside. Oh, I'm almost going DMX on you guys. So yeah, but to get back on track, everybody has to find a way. You know, so at first I was just helping out a guy here and there. Oh man, one guy came back, yo, Keno, man, look, I wouldn't have got the score if it wasn't for Keno. He helped me out with the math, he helped me out with the mechanical, and of course I know the aerodynamics of things and stuff. And so that's what it was. You know, it was just like, okay. So I didn't even have like a structured thing like I do now. So to any book publisher I've ever offended, whatever, I apologize because I thought about that, and I'm not perfect, and I'm not above reproach. So, you know, what I will say is, if I do really, 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 really like, and for my followers and stuff like that, if I do really, really, really like a book and I think it's representative of a test, I will actually, and I'm not even gonna put this book up because I don't back this guy up. But Barron's, I ride with Barron's. Okay. I definitely ride with Barron's. When I think about test booklets, and no, they're not endorsing me or paying me to say this, which I think you guys should send me a check. I mean, not really, but if you want to, I'm not gonna be like, oh, Kieno. Never mind, I'm spelling my name out. Okay, so yeah, we're at the end, and I apologize because I did kind of go off tangent. I know we did start a little bit late, but we terminated at 3 because I actually have people. It's my schedule. Yeah. So yeah, that's the only reason I have to skate. So I will be here next Saturday, 2 p.m. And bring those questions early. What you can do is you can email me at KIENOTHOMAS@gmail.com. And get those questions in there early. If you start sending them at 1, I'll already have some questions I can jump in on. All right. If you guys need tutoring, I tell you guys all the time, most people are not prepared for this exam. Please find a tutor. You do not want to be taking this thing. And shout out to all my recruiters that are about to be mad at me, but do not listen to the recruiter that says, "Oh, just take it, see how you do." I know you guys are going to be pissed, but I don't recommend that. If you really, 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 really want to fly helicopters for the Army, because you only get two chances in life to take this test. 2 chances. So, these are things that I'm going to be reiterating in every video. Whether you're good enough. Well, I won't say good enough, but if you're answering a question in a timely fashion. If you are not nailing these math questions in 60 seconds, you need help. And so we can just get the denial out of the way. Find a qualified tutor, somebody with a track record, and references or something. These videos are my reference. I talk about this stuff every week. I am an expert. I am. No matter what the trolls say. I'm an expert. My people know I'm an expert. But the trolls think otherwise. Man, he don't know what he's talking about, son. Yeah. So, we're at 301, and I have to get to my clients, guys. But if you need tutoring, reach out. Reach out. You can send them as, "Hey, man, I need a tutor," whatever. But yeah, that's right, John. Get the Kino vision. Just reach out. You guys know my first, my last name at gmail.com or Kino.Thomas on Skype. But if you cannot solve these math problems in 60 seconds, 1 or 2 might take you 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. But if you're taking 5 minutes, clock yourself. If you're taking 5 minutes, you need somebody to teach you test taking strategy. It's plain and simple. Because you're competing with other people that are preparing, that are taking the SIFT. And your score is going to go right down through the toilet. Not to mention if you have no flight experience. I know every rotary wing flight student is looking at the Army. Why not? Dude, it's the best helicopter training in the world. That's right. U.S. Army. So, you get the flight students, you get the fixed wing guys, when they're just like, dude, they're just looking for a job. They're like, "Yeah, I'll go to the Army and fly your $20 million helicopter." You know what I mean? If you have no flight experience, you need help. You do. You need to get yourself in a competitive position. You know what I mean? And it's more than just flight experience and stuff like that as well, which I'll kind of talk about. And I know my previous SIFT test prep guys. I'm going to start getting guys in videos to kind of interview. I will not be identifying them, but what I will do is get their story, unless they want to be identified and they don't mind. I'm kind of weird about people's anonymity and stuff like that and everything. But I'm not even sure how that format's going to work. But I'll just be like, "Hey, how you doing? What are you doing?" "Oh yeah, I'm flying for this squadron or whatever," and and start interviewing some of these guys that have tested with me before. Where are they now? I think that's what I'm going to call it. John, you think that's good? Where are they now? And they talk about how they met me, and they prepared for the exam. And then they went to their officer candidate school, then they got winged, and where they are now. And then it'll just be like, "So, where are you now?" So yeah, how we meet, and then now, where are you now? Oh shit! I gotta get that copyrighted. Sorry, I didn't mean to curse. Professionalism. Yeah. Damn it. Yeah, but can't let that idea go away. That works. I'm trying to be on there. Yeah, man. I suspect that we will be interviewing you, man. Oh my gosh. Because you have so much passion and energy. You will be. All right. So yeah, that's an awesome idea. Okay, so how we meet? Well, Kino, yeah, I was like preparing for the test and blah 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 blah, and I sucked at math, and I worked with you. Now I'm great at math. And then where are you now? Okay, well I'm currently blah 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 blah, flying for blah 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 blah. That's awesome. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that with civilian guys because there's so many commercial pilots out there that I've trained. It's unbelievable, and it make your head spin. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm sorry. That idea just kind of froze me. And we're at the end of the stream, so it's all good. Local Lonnie's like, hurry up, Kino. Yeah, I gotta go, guys. But listen, I thank you guys for taking time out to come check out the channel. Please hit that like button. Please follow. Please subscribe. All that stuff as I am on YouTube and Facebook, guys. So I gotta go now. I don't want to get beat up. And I didn't do shout outs today. I will definitely do shout outs next week. Or I will key in the shout outs, for people that like showed up. But yeah, we were just a little bit discombobulated today. And I apologize. But yeah, we got our aviation term in. We got our Air Army aviation information term in. Effective translational lift. And just keep in mind 16 to 24 knots. I got to go, guys. Take care. And okay.